So very good evening all of you. So all of you had your 2 classes and now back with the third class, right? Please come. So had coffee, snacks, something, back with energy, some energy still left for the day. Yes, great. So we'll start with the basic concepts today. So any doubts with respect to the classes, with respect to the approach, any doubts? So with respect to the last class? Yes. So we'll get started with the basic concepts today. Okay. So we'll first try to understand with sociology itself. So what is sociology to start with? The study of society. In simple words, we can say that sociology is the study of society. So we'll first try to understand how the word came into existence before we give the definition of it. So sociology is derived from two words, that is socius and logy. So now from childhood we would have been hearing that whenever we do not know any particular word, we refer to it and say that why are you talking in German or Latin language, or why are you talking in French, like this. So these are the terms that we keep using. Why are you using Greek language, like this. So one reason why we keep using those things are because a lot of words that we use today, even in English, have their roots in Latin or Greek, and the same thing applies here also. The word socius comes from the Latin word which means companion, and the word logy is a Greek word which means study of. So what does it mean now? Combining them, sociology, the study of companions. So that is what it means by going by the literal meaning of the word sociology, study of companions. However, to broaden the definition, we can say that sociology is the study of society, social institutions, its social actors, and the patterns of interactions. So that is the broader definition we can start with. Okay, so we'll write the definition and then I'll explain it. So please do note these words. Have you guys noted? So we can have a broader definition saying that sociology is the systematic study of society, social institutions, social actors, and patterns of interactions. So this is a definition we can have to start with, and as we deal with various thinkers and various topics, we have different type of different definitions given by different sociologists. So we'll be having more definitions as we come across various topics. Okay, we'll not try to have multiple definitions at this point itself and not make it complicated for us. To start, we'll have simple definition. Various sociologists like Emily Durkheim, Max Weber, all of them have given their own definitions. So those we'll be studying as and when we do the different topics respectively. Okay, so what do we mean by this? It is the systematic study of society, social institutions, social actors, and patterns of interactions. Now every word that we have written here has a particular meaning. So what does it mean by this? So we are saying that we are studying it in a systematic way. So because anybody can study society. Now as a common man also we can say that I am studying society. What makes sociology different from that of a common man is we study it in a systematic way. Like we use specific techniques or specific methods, and we have specific approaches to study the society. It is not like we are randomly studying however we want. Suppose let's say you want to understand about family. So it will not be like you just go to your family, note down whatever you see and say that I have studied family. So that is not how we do it. That will become more like common man's point of view. When we say sociology and we are studying society, we are doing it in a systematic way, wherein we analyze things. We just don't make some observations and say this is what is sociology. We study it in a very systematic way, and we have various methods and approaches in studying the society. That is one. And second, we study various social institutions as well. So here in sociology, we use the word social institution very broadly. When we mean social institution, it includes a whole range of aspects of the society. We call religion to be a social institution. We call the family to be a social institution. We call the education system to be a social institution. We call the political system to be a social institution. We call the various societies to be social institutions, etc. So the word social institution here in sociology has a bigger connotation, okay, unlike the normal word that we use, institution, which refers to like our institution. So that is not how we use. It has a much wider connotation. Even we call marriage to be a social institution, okay. So later as we go about various topics, when we keep referring to the word social institution, it includes all of these things. A social institution can include, for example, family is a social institution, marriage is a social institution, education system is a social institution, and the political system can be a social institution, and so on. Religion can be a social institution, etc. We can have multiple social institutions. Here we are understanding them as an institution because they have certain unique characteristics or features associated with that particular aspect, and that is why we call them as institution. Like now we see that when marriage happens, it's not just like a process, but it is like an institution. Various aspects are attached with marriage, various different rituals and ceremonies. So all of that put together, we call it as an institution. Similarly, when we say education, we are not just talking about the educational infrastructure or the syllabus of the education. As a whole institution, as a whole system, we call it as educational institution, being a social institution. That is how we use the word social institution. It has a very broad connotation in the context of sociology. And we also study social actors. Now all human beings are social actors. Like we have this famous saying, right, most of you would have heard that ಈ ಜಗತ್ತೇ ಒಂದು ರಂಗಮಂದಿರ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾತ್ರಧಾರಿಗಳು. So that is how we see human beings are like social actors. Like we are not acting randomly in different situations. Maybe in some situations people might act out of context, like very randomly, but you see that in most of the situations people act in a patterned way. Like we can predict the behaviors, how people behave. Like for example, you can predict how I am going to behave in the class, and I can predict how you will be behaving. As a teacher, you will be expecting me to stand here and teach in a specific manner, and me as a teacher will be expecting you to be sitting in the class and listening to the classes. Now these are the patterns of behavior that we can expect. So we call every individual as social actors, and each individual will be acting in different ways in different situations. Everybody will not act in the same way in every situation. Like for example, when you are here, you are a student, you are playing the role of a student. Then when you go back to your home, you now take up the role of a son or a daughter. So you are acting in a different way. So that is how we see here in sociology. We see human beings as social actors. We are not interested in understanding individuals' behavior in a particular way, like randomly. We want to understand them as social actors. How people behave in family, how people behave with respect to educational system, how do people behave with respect to religion, how do people behave with respect to the political system. These are the patterns that we try to understand, and then we get the pattern of interactions, how various interactions happen, how do individuals interact with various institutions, be it family, be it the caste system, or with marriage, etc., and how individuals interact between different individuals, and how various social institutions interact with each other. How does the political system interact with religion? How does the political system interact with the education system? All of these patterns are what we are interested in understanding. So we are not interested in understanding how one particular political party is working. That is not our interest. Rather, we want to understand what are the ideologies based on which political parties are working, how the political system in a country or in a society impact the education system. Now we see that whenever new government comes, there will be change in the curriculum, there will be change in the educational system, a lot of changes happen. How are these changes happening? And you see that the political system not only impacts the education system, a whole lot of things are impacted. For example, family is impacted with the political system. Now we see that around 1970s, with the aim of controlling the population, there was the use of forced sterilization, which had a significant backfiring effect. Now you see that a large number of family sizes came down because of the political system. So that is one way of understanding how the political system interacts with family. And now you see that our country has various laws regulating the families. Like for example, we have the Hindu Marriage Act, which regulates the marriage with respect to Hindus, with respect to Sikhs, Jains and Buddhists. Then we have the Shariat law, which regulates the marriage among the Muslims. Now these acts do not allow for same-sex marriage. Now you see that the laws are impacting the marriage. So that is the interaction that we are interested in understanding. Now once we come up with a new law allowing for same-sex marriage, then the marriage is again impacted by the law. So this is the interaction that we want to understand. All of these things put together is what we are interested in studying, which makes it a discipline called sociology. So that is what is the base of sociology, how things work in the society, how interactions happen, how do individuals interact, and why do individuals interact in a particular way, in particular context. All of these things are the most important thing that we are interested in studying. So that is sociology. Noted. Now understanding society. So what is society? All of us come from society, right? We all come from different types of societies. So society is a word which we very commonly use, and most of us know it very well also. There is nobody who does not know what is society. But how can we put it in words? Society? People with something in common. Yes. So that is one simple way of understanding. People having some commonality. So we'll write a definition. We can say that society, it refers to multiplicity of individuals having common organizations, shared goals and exhibiting social solidarity. Now it is more like describing the features of what is society rather than defining. So what are the keywords that we have written here with respect to the definition? One, it has multiplicity of individuals. So that means it has more number of people, like more than one individual. Like for example, best case is we can take that of Indian society. So we call India as a nation. At the same time, we call India as a society also. We proudly say that we are all Indians, and when we mean Indians, we are not only citizens of the country, but we also say that we are we are all part of Indian society. So now understanding this definition in the context of Indian society. So does Indian society have multiplicity of individuals? More than plenty of it. Like in terms of population, there is no dearth. Like we are the most populous country. Like most of you I think would have read from current affairs, right? According to the UN Population Fund report, today we are the highest populated country in the world with a population of 143 crore people. So we have more than one individual, which makes it a society, and it has common organizations. Organizations can be with respect to any sector, be it with respect to the political sector. We have the common organizations, that is all of us do believe in democracy and we do believe in the democratic organizations, right? We believe in parliament, the laws made by the parliament, we do believe in judiciary. These are all with respect to the political aspect, and we do believe in the common organizations like family, right? Everybody believe in family. So nobody, maybe some people might have some issues with respect to family, or some people might be living individually, but in general when we say society, all Indians do believe in the idea of family, or we do believe in the idea of religion. Different people have their own religions, not that everybody have to have the same religion, but there are common organizations, as in we do believe in Hinduism, we do believe in Islam. All these are common organizations as such, and people, all of them do have certain common organizations in the form of family, in the form of religion, education system. We do believe in education system, right? We as we start having children, we start sending them to schools. Why do we send them to schools? Because, yes, to educate them. Now getting education is the primary agenda here, but why are we sending them to schools? Because we believe that these are the institutions which can provide them quality education. So all of us do send our children to these schools. Now schools are the common organizations where everybody go, and everybody go to some or the other workplace. It can be in different sectors, but people do believe in the organizations, and then they have shared goals. Now when we say shared goals, it can vary at different levels. It need not mean that everybody should have the same goals at all times. It can be different at different times. Like when we talk about the country, Indian society as a whole, we have the shared goal of ensuring the Indian economy becomes a 5 trillion economy. So that is one shared goal. All of us do believe in that, and we all do believe that we have to protect our borders from the enemy countries. So that is with respect to the security, and all of us do believe in the idea that we have to work towards realizing the dream of new India, so which is an ambition of our government. So that is a shared goal. Then we want to make our population the most healthiest population by providing them with good health facilities. So that is a shared goal. Then we want to provide employment for everyone. That is a shared goal. Now we see that Indian society as a whole has a shared goal, and if suppose a cricket match is happening, everybody forgets their religion, caste, family, etc. Everybody has a shared goal that end of the day we want India to win. So this becomes a shared goal. Now today match was there. How many of you, I think most of you did not have the opportunity to see the match, but I think some of you would have at least followed the scores. Everybody wanted Virat Kohli to score well. Everybody wanted Rohit Sharma to score well. Who did not want them to score well? Nobody. They are not from our city, they are not from our state, but they are all part of Indian society, and we want them to perform well, whether they belong to our state or our religion or our caste or not. Even if they are not our family members, we still have the shared goal. They scoring well is good for them and good for us also, because they are all part of our Indian society. And then they exhibit social solidarity. Social solidarity means people have commonness, people come together, people believe that they are all one. There is this belief in oneness. Like if there is any problem, people come together and stand for each other. When they are represented in the global arena, they say that we are all Indians. Like suppose tomorrow you go to America and you are in problem, some other Indian who is there will come to your help. That person might not be related to you in any way. The only reason is you are an Indian and that person is an Indian. And let's say there is a terror attack. Now many of you would have followed this Pahalgam attack, the Pulwama attack, etc. all of us had the common grieving. Although the people who died in that attacks were not our relatives, yet we all felt sorry and we all had that anger in us that these terrorists have to be punished. So why is that the case? Although they are not connected to us either by blood, they are not our family members, we have not even seen them even once in our lives. Even without all of this, just when we heard that these people were killed by the terrorists in the terror attack, we all felt anger. We had that urge to take revenge. We wanted the terrorists to be punished. So why is that the case? Because they are Indians. So we are exhibiting that social solidarity. We stand together for each of us. It may be in terms of the economic difficulties, it may be in terms of the safety, it may be in terms of sharing joy. Like for example, when festivals come, we all come together and celebrate. It need not be, when we say social solidarity, it need not be only during difficult times. Even when things are going well, like for example, if there is any festival, we share sweets with everyone. Even if the neighbors are not from our own religion, even if we do not know them, we share sweets with them, we celebrate together, we send messages to them, greetings to them. All of these things are done together. So that exhibits social solidarity. So all of this put together is what makes a particular region or a collection of people society. Otherwise, just people coming together itself will not make it a society. Now, for example, in America, let's say there are 100 Indians, 100 Chinese people, 100 Americans and 100 Africans. They by itself do not become society. They are all just people living together. So that we just call as population. When do they become society? When they exhibit all these characteristics. And when we say society, it need not mean that an individual should belong only to one society. People can belong to different societies at different point of time. Now all of us are belonging to Karnataka. So we are all Kannadigas as a whole, and at the same time we are all Indians also. And we are all belonging to our own villages or our cities also. So we belong to multiple societies. And let's say tomorrow when you go abroad, you form a small community in that particular country. You have certain shared solidarity with them, have common organization shared with them. You also become part of that society. So people can belong to multiple societies at the same time as well. It need not be that one individual should belong to only one society. Okay, they can belong to different societies as well. So that is the idea of society. Any doubts with respect to society? Now coming to the idea of culture. So this is another very common word that we keep using. Every time we keep hearing people saying behave in a cultured way, don't behave in an uncultured way. We are proud of our Indian culture. So much we keep talking about the idea of culture. So what do we mean by this word culture? Respecting elders is one part of our culture. More broader idea of culture, way of living. Yes, practices that have been coming from long time, that we call as traditions. The customs or the rituals that have been passed down from generation to generation, that we call as tradition. We'll come to that later. So what is culture as such? In one simple way we can say that it is the way of living. Now what does it mean when we say way of living? What all it includes when we say a way of living? So when we say this word or when we use this word way of living, now it includes multiple things. It can include certain ideas in which you live. It can include certain values which you believe. It can include certain tools or technology that you use. It includes certain ideas that you believe in. So many things. All of them are part of way of life. Now all of those things put together and which are shared by people, that is what we call as culture. So what does it mean? It refers to culture. It refers to ideas, ideologies, values, beliefs, norms, tools, technology, technologies, etc. shared by a group of people. So now again, when we say culture, it is not just about these things. When they are shared by people, that is when it becomes culture. Otherwise, it's like if suppose I am having my own ideas, so that will not become part of our culture. It will be only my ideas. When these ideas, whatever we are referring to here, I'll explain each of these words separately in detail. Okay, but as a whole, when we say, it includes ideas, ideologies, values, beliefs, norms, tools, technology, etc. It is not simply about the individuals having their own values. Like suppose you have your own value system, it will be value, but it will be your own value. It will not become part of the culture. When does it become part of the culture? When it is shared by group of people. Like it is not only your value, but it is also the value of others in the society. Society might be a bigger society or a smaller society, but it is a part of the society. So all of those things put together and shared by the society, which becomes culture. So what does each of these words mean? So we'll understand each of these words separately. Now when we say ideas, so what are ideas? It in simple refers to the thoughts or opinions. The thoughts or the opinions. Now ideas can be of individuals or it can be of group of people. So it can be at any level, but it simply refers to the thoughts or the opinions people have. Now these ideas or these opinions can differ from individual to individuals. Like for example, when we say Indians, so what is the idea of Indian society? We Indians have the idea that idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means everybody are part of the same family. So this is the idea carried by Indian society. Now on the contrary, if we take American society, so what is the idea that we are seeing there now? America first. Now ideas, when we say ideas, it need not be right idea or wrong idea, but the ideas that are shared by people, the thoughts or the opinions. India has the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, wherein we believe that we should live and we should let live others also. We have to ensure the well-being of not only us but others as well. But we see that now America is having this trade protectionism, various barriers, where they are promoting the idea of America first. Their country has to be taken care first, then comes the other countries. So that is their idea. Now ideas can be right or wrong in different contexts. In our context, this idea might be wrong. If we say India first, that might be wrong according to our idea, but it might be right in their context. It is not about right or wrong, it is simply about what people believe in, whether it is their idea or not, and something that is shared by the people together. And what do we mean by ideology? Multiple ideas having commonality. When there are multiple ideas and all of them are connected to one single thing, that makes it ideology. Like for example, capitalism is an ideology. So what are the various ideas associated with capitalism? Have you guys done any basics with economics and other subjects? So what is capitalism? Capitalism is an ideology which has various set of ideas. So what are the ideas? One, profit making. Yes, profit making is one idea of capitalism. Then based on the demand and supply, it is based on the market economy, wherein we say that the production and distribution will be based on demand and supply. It is not about whether individual need it or not. If there is a demand for a particular product, we will be producing it. If there is no demand, we will not produce that particular good. So it works on the idea of demand and supply. Now in socialism or socialist economy, we see that production is based on the needs of people, not based on demand and supply. Maybe for one particular good, the demand is less, but there is a need for that good in the whole society. So the government will still produce it, even if the value for that is less, the people's purchasing power is less, still the society will be producing that. So that is the idea of capitalism. And then we have minimal state, wherein the government will not interfere with too many things. The government will have a minimal role. Only where it is necessary for the government to interfere, they will interfere and regulate. The government will not interfere with the production of the goods or distribution, etc. Only providing primary things like ensuring the national security, ensuring the public goods like the roads, etc. These are the things done by the government. Other things are left to the market economy. Now all of these put together, all of them put together makes it the ideology. Multiple ideas put together makes it one single ideology, that is capitalism. Now there can be multiple ideologies with respect to multiple sections. Like for example, with respect to economics or economy, we have various ideologies like capitalism, socialism, etc. So do not worry too much about these concepts. These are like the founding pillars of our subject. By the time we end up, all of these concepts would have been in the fingertips. Our major sociologist Karl Marx is somebody who proposed socialism, and why he proposed it, why he was against capitalism, all these things we'll be studying more in detail. But these are primarily the economic ideologies. Then there can be ideologies with respect to political sector. So what are the different ideologies in political sector? Yes, fundamentalism, yes, it can be like a political ideology and a religious ideology as well. With respect to political ideology, we can say that liberalism is, yes, divide and rule is like a part of it, not exactly ideology, it's only a method that is used. Okay, liberalism is an ideology. Democracy is an ideology with respect to politics. What do we mean by liberalism? The state being more liberal. State is not too harsh on the people. Like we in India, or if you say Western countries, they believe in this idea of liberalism. People should be allowed to enjoy their rights to the maximum. Only where it is threatening the national security or sovereignty, the government will be regulating. Otherwise, the government will not interfere with the rights of the people. So that is the idea of liberalism. People having maximum rights. Then we have democracy. Democracy itself is an ideology wherein the core idea is that people should be electing the leaders, the rule should be by the people, rule should be of the people, and rule should be for the people, not for the rulers. It has to be for the well-being of majority of the people. So that is the idea of democracy. Now these are all political ideologies. Then there can be social, with respect to the social sector ideologies, which includes feminism, which includes sexism, etc. So what is sexism and feminism? They are like diametrically opposite ideologies. Sexism is where we generally have the stereotyping that men are superior than women, women should be confined to home, women are less capable. These ideas put together, or same-sex marriage should be restricted. These ideas are all part of sexism. Feminism is an ideology where it is believed that men and women are equal. It is not about women being superior than men, it is about women and men being equal to each other. Now when we say feminism, it need not mean that only women should believe in the idea of feminism. Even men can believe in the idea of feminism. Feminism is only an ideology. It is not about only women. It is about believing in the idea that men and women are equal. Men and women are capable of doing equal same things. If man can do something, women can also do the same thing. If man has the right to property, women can also have the right to property. If man can get education, women should also get education. If man can be a leader, women can also be a leader. There can be no, or there should be no discrimination between man and woman only on the basis of gender. There can be other discriminations, but not on the basis of gender itself. So that is the idea of feminism. So we can go on. We can go on with respect to multiple aspects. There can be various religious ideologies which can include atheism, theism. Atheism is the ideology which does not believe in the idea of God or religion. Theism is the ideology which believes in God or religion. So all of these things are like the important aspects of our syllabus. We will be discussing more in detail. I am just giving a broad idea how there can be different types of ideologies as such. Okay, so these are all ideologies. Now we also said that culture also includes values. So what are values? Honesty is an example for value, but what are values itself? Values can come from family also, but not only from family. Values can be at the level of individuals, it can be at the level of family, it can be at the level of society or nation also. But what are values? Like, you don't have to give definition or anything, you can try to explain your own words. What do we mean by values? Yes, setting a boundary. So basically we can say it's like principles which guide the human behavior, correct? Yes. So value, we can say that values are choice preferences. These are principles that guide human behavior. So what do we mean by this word choice preference? So what are our choices? Again, when we use all these words, when we say the word value, it's a neutral word. It is not about right value or wrong value. It is simply about what we choose. Somebody might prefer for money over family. Somebody might prefer family over money. It is not about which is right or wrong. It is simply about what individual is preferring to. Now, in general, because of the societal expectations, we believe that people should prefer family over money. If you are getting a good job abroad, but you have to leave your family, people believe that that person should not be going abroad. Because if, let's say, in the family there are old people, parents are quite aged, and somebody has to be taking care. So now this person is in dilemma whether to go abroad and take up that job, or to stay back in the home and get a less paid job and take care of the parents. Now an individual can have different choice preference. Somebody might prefer taking care of the elders, somebody might prefer money. It is not about which is correct here. It is simply about what is the preference of that individual, whether that person is preferring money or person is preferring the family. It simply refers to the choice preference. Based on that we make the judgments. So that is a different part. Whatever things are considered to be good in the society are called virtues, and whatever things are considered to be bad preferences are called vices. But by the word value, we simply mean choice preferences. It's not about right or wrong. And based on these choice preferences, our behavior is guided. What we prefer, according to that we act. Somebody who prefers money will decide to go abroad. Somebody who prefers family will decide to stay back. That individual's behavior is guided by the choice preference of that person. These values can be at the individual level. Now, in general, what are the individual values that are preferred in society? Honesty, care, or respect, etc. We can go on a whole list of that. These are the values that are expected at the individuals. Individuals are expected to prefer these things. When you are given a choice to do corruption, you have to give preference for honesty. You cannot take money in the form of bribe. So that should not be your value. If your value is money and not integrity, then you will end up doing corruption. But society expects you to be honest, and your preference should be integrity over money. So that will make you honest. And society prefers you to respect individuals. Society prefers you to respect every human being by the virtue of being a human being. You should not be discriminating somebody or disrespecting somebody if they come from a different caste, or if they come from different religion, if they come from different country, etc. All of us are expected to respect every other individual only by the virtue of them being human beings. These are some of the values that are expected at the individual level, and in general these are the values that we see in the individuals. These are the choice preferences. Any day if you ask somebody whether you prefer honesty or dishonesty, everybody says honesty. Nobody says I prefer dishonesty. Their preference will always be honesty. Then there can be values at the family level as well. Now, some family might value care. Let's say there is this family 1. This family might value care and love. That is also correct. Suppose a child has to be sent abroad for higher education, or a child has to be sent to other city. If they prefer care and love, they will send the child to the same school in the same locality, because they want to ensure love and care for the child. So education will be given less preference. Some other family, like family 2, might prefer education over love. Even if we are not able to give good love and care to the child, education is more important. So we decide to send them abroad or send them to different city or state also. So that can be the value of another family. Then there can be another family which might prefer status and honor or respect. Now they feel that even if we do not send our children to schools, or if we send them to schools, that is not our primary importance. Ensuring that the family's respect, the family's dignity, the family's honor is upheld or is protected. So that is their importance. So it can vary from one family to other family. It is not about which is right or which is wrong here. It is about what that particular family prioritizes. Now I think most of you would have had a mixed bag of this. In some of your families, they would have preferred for love and care, especially in Indian society. If it is a girl child, the first priority will be love and care over education. They will not prefer to send them to other place for education, rather they want them to be in the home only. Also because of the safety concerns. With respect to male children, education is preferred over love and care, because we have this idea that anyway wherever that child is there, he will be the same, he will not change. At least let us send abroad, or let us send him somewhere else so that he will study well. So that is the idea of some families. And in some families you would have heard that whatever you study or whether you study or not does not matter, but do not bring disrespect to the family. Do not do some wrong thing or bad thing. Do not show your mischievous behavior. Don't open your tail in the school and bring disrespect to the family. These are the things that they would have told in the families. Now each family can have their own values. It need not be always same for every family. But in general what we see is there will be certain values which will be like common across multiple families. Especially when we are all part of the same Indian society, a lot of values will be overlapping. Okay, that is at the family level. Then there can be values at the level of society as well. Now, if we take the case of Indian society, we value every religion. We have the belief in the idea of Sarva Dharma Samabhava. So what do we mean by this? All religions are equal. So this is our value as a country. Even Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is our value as well. So this is the value of Indian society. So we do not discriminate between any one or two religions, no matter whether that religion is minority or majority. We make sure that we treat every religion in the same way. There shall be no discrimination between any religion. But if we and we also value elders. Now as people or Indians, we are respected to our elders irrespective of what they have achieved. No matter whether they have been successful in their career or not, no matter whether they are educated or not, we are expected to respect every elder. So that becomes the important value, respecting the elders. Now if you go to some other societies, like let's say Japanese society. So what do they value? They value hard work, they value time. You see that in Japan, a lot of importance is given for hard work. People work relentlessly. They don't take holidays. Even if government gives holidays, they don't take holidays. In India, what is the idea? When somebody passes away, we expect 1 day of holiday in the name of mourning. In Japan, what do? They work for 1 day more. In the name of mourning, they work one additional day. So that is their idea of hard work, and they believe in the idea of time is money. For them, time is very important. They do not want to waste even 1 minute of precious time. So that is why you see that they are very efficient in terms of economy. A lot of infrastructural projects are carried out by Japan. We have the bullet train, all of these projects carried out by Japan, because for them time is more important. You see a lot of automobile industries etc. coming from Japan, where they have been making high level of precisions and improvisations, where they give importance for time. Now if you come to any other society, like for example American society, what do they value? They value innovation, they value money, they value privacy, etc. You see that privacy is utmost important in America. Unlike India, in India there is no concept of privacy similar to that of America. In present day, we are also moving more towards privacy culture, where we also prefer privacy. But in general, what is the idea? Especially if we go to rural part of our country, what do we find? Absolutely no concept of privacy. What is happening in anybody's home will be known by everybody in that village. So that is how we are. We prefer collectivism or collectivity. That is, we prefer ensuring that everybody are taken care. But in America, privacy is utmost important. If you have to go to somebody's home without taking an appointment or without asking them first, we cannot directly go. I think in some movies you would have seen also. Have you seen this America movie etc.? Quite old movie. Most of you are of like this generation. So this movie is of 1990s etc. One of the first Kannada movie shot abroad, wherein the actress who comes from a traditional village goes to this house of American, and without informing her, she goes to her home, like casually, like we go to our friend's home, right? Same way she also goes to her friend's home. Now when she goes and knocks on the door, the neighbor opens the door and she asks the question, how did you come without taking the appointment? So this is the culture there. They prioritize privacy. You have to first inform them, then only you can go to their home, which is not seen in our country. Now it is not about whether this is good or our culture is good. It is about different values. And you see innovation given highest importance, and money. Money matters. America is all about money. Why do people go to America from India? Most of the people go for money. They go for jobs, but why do they do jobs? For money. It is not about which job they are doing. It is about how much they are earning. That is what matters. Whenever somebody is going abroad, nobody will ask which job you have got or which company you are working. Everybody will ask what is your salary. how much you are earning or what is your package. That is what it means by America. So these are the values of American society. So we can add multiple aspects with respect to different societies. But in general, the idea is values are choice preferences. This society prefers these values. This society prefers these values. Our society prefers other values. So that is what we mean in general by values. Okay. Then we also said the word beliefs. So what are beliefs? Beliefs in simple or in general means what an individual considers is correct or true. It refers to what an individual considers to be correct or true. So what do we mean by this? So what we are saying here, it refers to what an individual considers. So this word is very important, considers. So just because somebody is believing in something, it need not mean it has to be actually true. It is only true according to that person. That person is considering it to be true. And this idea of belief has a significant influence of the values. Values influence the beliefs. Suppose you are coming from a family. Let's say you come from a family which is highly patriarchal. So then you will automatically believe in the idea that men are superior to women. Now this is not actually true. It need not be true, but it is your belief because you come from a family which is very patriarchal. Suppose you come from a family which is more democratic and liberal, then you will believe in the idea of gender equality. Then you believe that men are equal to women. Or suppose you come from a family which is very religious, then automatically you also will believe in religion and you also will believe in God. Now it is not a question of whether God is there or not, it's about your beliefs. Why do you believe? Because you value your family and your family believes in religion, and that makes you also a religious person. You also believe in the idea of religion or God. So beliefs simply refers to what an individual considers to be true or correct. Now values shape the beliefs and these beliefs shape the behavior or the actions of the people, and these are the fundamental things which are very important, because when we talk about the larger context of how the society works and when we talk about the laws, later when we come to other topics we'll be discussing about various laws etc, and how certain laws are not very effective and how some laws are very effective. So one of the reason why many laws are not effective is because of this. When people have strong beliefs based on their values, nothing can change that. That is why we see that despite passing of the Dowry Prohibition Act in 1962, still dowry continues to be prevalent in society. Why is that the case? People have strong beliefs in the idea of patriarchy. Both the family giving dowry and taking dowry believe in the idea of patriarchy, and that is something which cannot be easily done away with the help of law. If we have to really abolish dowry, it has to be addressing the beliefs in the minds of people. The values of the people have to change. People, rather than prioritizing or preferring men over women, have to give equal importance to both man and woman. That is when the problem of dowry can come down. And this is not just with dowry. This was just one example we took. With respect to child marriage, with respect to the problem of child labor, with respect to the problem of manual scavenging, with respect to the problem of bonded labor, so many problems we have, and we have so many laws also. Still, why every law is not very effective? It has its roots in this concept, the beliefs and the idea. As long as people have strong belief, nothing can change. Now you see many bureaucrats, after becoming bureaucrats, they end up making huge money, like involving in corruption, etc. On the paper, everybody would have written the same ethics paper where you would have told integrity is priority, nobody should involve in corruption, we should ensure the well-being of society. These things you would have written. Even in interviews, you would have told the same answers. And even when you go to Labasana for training, they would have taught the same thing. You have the 3 months foundation course, then specific training also. Everywhere they would have taught the same thing. Nowhere they will tell that corruption is okay, you can do corruption. But still, why a lot of bureaucrats end up doing corruption? Because they are all part of this belief system, not simply what is told on the paper. Once it is become part of your belief system, it is very difficult to change. And that is where changing it becomes a challenge. And how are these shaped? Based on multiple factors like that of the education system, the family, the religion. These are the things that shape our beliefs. In society, we don't grow up in isolation. We are all human beings. Rather, we can say we are all social beings, born and brought up in the society, where society plays a big role in shaping us. And what does the society include? All of these aspects. Family is where we are born and brought up and we start growing. Then we slowly start getting exposure to the outside world, our neighborhood. Then we start getting exposure to religion, the caste system, our family system, our education system. All of these things start shaping us from the very young age. Now, when these things are have become part of us from this early age, it is not easy to change them overnight, simply by writing and making you learn them on the paper. It has to be brought in change from these values. That is where changing the ideas from the family or the role of family, the role of education, etc. becomes very important if you have to bring certain significant changes in the society. Okay. Then we have norms. Yes. Yes. When we say beliefs, again, it can be about any belief. Superstitious belief, even belief in ghost. It is not about proving whether ghost is there or not. It is about people believing that ghost is there. People believing in superstition. People believing in caste system. It is about what people believe. That's it. In actual, if we have to look at it, there is nothing which is absolute in nature, whether it is really there or not. It is all about the people's beliefs. It is about people's mindset. When we say mindset, it is about what they believe in their mind. It's not about whether it is true or not. You might believe that India is the best country. Now it is about your belief. Whether India is actually best or not is not the question here. It is about what you believe in. You might believe that China is the best country. You might believe Sri Lanka is the best country. It is up to you. What you believe in. That is what matters. The same thing with most of the things. It is all about individuals' beliefs. And one thing that plays a big role with respect to changing these beliefs is the family and the education system. Personal life experiences, they also play a big role in it. Now, once we come to the idea of socialization, there I'll explain about the different socializing agents. There I'll explain about them. Then we have norms. So, what are norms, rules, and regulations? More broadly, we can say these are the standards of judgment. These can be written or unwritten. Now, there are so many norms that we follow in society. Not everything is written. Some of them are written, some of them are not written also, but we still follow them. So, they are moral standards of judgment. More than standards of judgment, we can say standards of moral judgment. Just add this word, standards of moral judgment. So, what do we mean by this standard of moral judgment? Yes, it is based on these norms we judge whether the action is good or bad, whether it is right or wrong, whether it is correct or incorrect. Now, these norms can come from society, it can come from the government or the laws. When it is coming from the government, it will be in the form of written norms. For example, we have the traffic rules where we are expected to stop when there is a red light. When there is one way written, we are not expected to go in that road. So these are the norms or the moral standards of judgment given by the written laws, written norms in the form of rules or laws. There are multiple laws, like we have the Wildlife Protection Act, which says that we should not be destroying the forest, we should not be hunting the animals in the forest. So these are moral judgments given in the form of written laws. But these written norms or laws are very recent phenomena of last 150-200 years. From a very long time, human beings are being guided or being regulated based on the unwritten norms, and unwritten norms play a much bigger role than the written norms. Like for example, we have the norm in Indian society that we have to say namaskara when somebody comes. If we do not say, people will be judged. People say that this person is very arrogant. See how much attitude this person has. So that is a norm given by the society. As soon as we see elders, we touch their feet and take blessings. So this is a norm. If we do not do that, we will be judged, saying that just by earning little money or just by getting educated, see how he is behaving in a arrogant way. So this is how we are judged. We are told that we should not kill other people. Although the laws also say that we should not kill others, if we kill others, we will be punished. But how many of us know the laws? How many of us have read the BNS, BNSS, IPC? And still, why do we follow these norms? Why do we not kill other people? These are the norms that are in the form of unwritten laws, which are given through our religion, through our culture. This is not something which we have read and understood from the laws. It is coming from our culture. So it is the unwritten norms that actually guide the human behavior. We have so many norms in our society, like what time you have to wake up in the morning, what time you have to sleep, at what time you have to have food, what type of clothing you have to wear. All of these are unwritten norms. So these are not written norms. Written norms are very small part of it, and these are only the latest phenomena. But for thousands of years, what is guiding the society is the unwritten norms and not the written norms. Maybe some of them are codified in the form of certain religious books, like our holy Bhagavad Gita or Vedas or the Bible, etc. But many of them that we follow on a day-to-day basis are based on these unwritten norms, which are carried forward from one generation to other generation. And within these norms, there are two types broadly. So one is folkways and the other is mores. So what are folkways? So both are part of norms only, just that we are classifying them to two parts. So what do we mean by folkways? It refers to the general everyday ways of doing things. So folkways are like something which we do on a daily basis in common. Like for example, as soon as you see somebody, you will greet. Like you will give a smile and say hi. Or if it is elder, you will say do this action and say namaskara. So that is a folkway. And folkways are something that we follow on a daily basis, day-to-day basis. Like for example, when you are coming out in a public place, you are expected to wear dignified dress. So that is a folkway. That is something which is expected. So, and these folkways are all specifically working in particular context. It will not be this like the same folkways in every context. Like for example, what is a folkway in India need not be a folkway in Africa or America. Like in India, when you say like this, people will understand what it means. Now if you go to an African tribal society and you do like this, they will not understand what it means. So for them it is not a folkway. These are not like something which are universal in nature. These are all society context. For one particular society, it means something. Like in Indian context, hugging somebody will be considered as a offense. Like especially if it is two people of opposite gender, a man and a woman, if they hug in public place, people will give a very strange stare. What is happening here? They're going against the culture. That is how we see. But if you go to a foreign country, as soon as they meet, whether it is man and a man or man and a woman, they hug and invite each other. So that is their folk way. That is part of their culture. It is not about which one is good, which one is bad. It is about different folkways of different societies. And violation of this usually will attract ridicules or social distancing. So please write one more line. Violation of folkways. Violation of folkways usually attract social distancing or ridicules. Social distancing or ridicules. ridicules. And folkways are usually in the form of unwritten norms. And folkways are usually in the form of unwritten norms. So mostly how we behave in the society on a day-to-day basis, these are not written anywhere. Only certain things which are very important, like following the traffic rules, these things are written. Or when you come to institution, you would have been given a list of instructions. Although most of them do not follow that, that is a different thing. But in certain specific occasions, they would have been in the form of written norms. But otherwise on a day-to-day basis that we do are in the form of unwritten norms. And when we do not follow that, what happens? The punishment will be very mild in the form of like social ridiculing. Like people will make comments, like they give stare, they try to distance themselves. Like for example, let's say you went to a movie hall with your friends. All of a sudden one of your friend starts behaving in a crazy manner, like he starts shouting, he starts jumping in the theater. What will you do? You will try to like distance yourself. You will say that I do not know who this person is. So that is social distancing. That is what you end up. Or let's say in your homes you are expected to wake up early in the morning. That is the culture in our country. Suppose you do not wake up even at 9 o'clock, or let's say you do not wake up at 8 o'clock. What will your mother come and do? Usually it is the mothers who are more attached with this waking up early concept, right? More than the fathers. So what will the mother come and do when you do not wake up at 8 o'clock also? She tries to like push you and say it's already 8 o'clock, wake up. Then when it becomes 9 o'clock also, if you are still sleeping, what will be the reaction? Yes? Turn off the fans or turn on the lights, open the curtains so that the bright sunlight comes on you. Then let's say even at 10 o'clock, you do not wake up. So what will happen? You will get the shower on the bed itself. So this is how the response will be when you violate the norms, when you violate the folkways. And then we have moors. So moors are, it refers to strong, staunch ways of determining patterns of behavior. So they are also part of norms only, but they are slightly of strong nature, meaning to say that these things are expected to be followed more seriously, and violation of this will usually attract strong or harsh punishments. So just write one more line and then I'll explain. Most of the moors become part of the law, and violation of moors violation of Moores attract harsh punishment. Violation of Moores attract harsh punishments. So now these are like the higher version of folkways. Like for example, let's say the intercaste marriage. Now in India, intercaste marriage is considered to be like a serious offense. We see that even after 78 years of democracy, still the intercaste marriage is only around 11%. So that means 90% of the people still believe in the idea of caste. So if you violate these caste norms and marry somebody from outside the caste, it can attract strong punishments. Like your family might throw you out of your family, or in villages we have the idea of Kap Panchayat, where they take various actions, like they throw you out of the village itself. In sometimes there is also the idea of honor killing, where they even go to the extent of killing the people who have entered the intercaste marriage. So this is what we call as Moors. It is expected to be followed in a very strict way, and violating that will attract harsh punishments, and most of them will eventually go on to become laws. Not all of them, but most of them. For example, in India, even today we do not allow same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage is illegal in India. According to our laws, it is not allowed. If anybody goes for same-sex marriage, it will be considered to be offense, and that will be punished. So that is a Moor. Going for same-sex marriage becomes Moor. Like not going for same-sex marriage is a Moor, which is expected from individuals. So that is folkways and Moors. Yes. That will be more part of the folkways only. Like suppose you do not believe in that, it will not mean that somebody will punish you, etc. People only will social ridicule, or they distance from you. That's it. They just make some comments. They might say that why this person is behaving like that. Like that small comments might be passed, but not any harsh punishments will be given. Any other example you can think of for both folkways and Moors? Lot of common day-to-day things that we do. Yes. Hmm. 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 Yes. So that is another good example with folkways. Like when we go to temples, we are expected to dress in a particular way. Like if it is men, they are expected to wear dhoti or what we call as panche, and for women, they are expected to go in saris. If you go in shorts or skirt, in many places they will not be allowing, and in many places they become Moors also. In some places, when you go to like normal temples, they might not be very strictly followed, but in some temples they are very strictly followed. They will not allow you inside only. Like if you go to yes, Tirumala, they don't allow you to go outside without the dress. And if you go to Mantralaya or other temples, you for men they have to remove the shirts. They cannot go with the shirts, and women have to compulsorily go in saris. So they become Moors also. Same thing can be folkway in one context, and it can be a Moor in other context as well. So it can vary. And then we have so what were the topics that we are written here? Yes. Tools and technology. So what do we mean by that here is that the what are tools and technology, most of you know. How do we classify that here is, in general, when we use the word tools and technology, they are also part of culture. But when we talk about the material culture, that includes tools and technology. And when we talk about these material aspects like tools and technology, we refer to it as civilization. When we talk about the non-material aspects of the culture, we refer to it as society. When we say Indian society, we talk about these aspects, the ideas, ideologies, beliefs, etc. When we say civilization, we usually refer to the ideas of tools and technology. Like for example, we use the word Indian Harappan civilization. So what do we mean by that? Or we say Egyptian civilization, So what are the major things that we are referring to here? Like when we say Egyptian civilization, we are primarily referring to the pyramids, the technology they used in pyramids, etc. When we say Harappan civilization or IVC civilization, we are primarily talking about the planning, the urbanization, the yes, the citadels, these aspects, the technology that they used, the tools they had, all of these things are referred to as civilization. When we say Harappan society, we refer to the ideas, ideologies, values, norms, etc. So that is how we classify it. So that is with respect to the idea of culture. Okay. Then we have the topic socialization. So what is socialization? Socialization in general refers to the transmission of values and culture from one generation to the next generation. Okay. Refers to the transmission of values and culture from one generation to other. So now we see that the values and culture in our society is being transmitted to us from our previous generation, from our parents, and that was transmitted to them by our grandparents. So it keeps on getting transmitted. So that process of transmission of these values and culture, all of these aspects, the ideas, ideology, norms, values, beliefs, all of these things which get transmitted from one generation to other generation, that process we call as socialization. So within this socialization, there can be two types: primary socialization and secondary socialization. So what is primary and secondary socialization? So write down primary socialization. I'll dictate and then I will explain. So primary socialization, it refers to the process of adoption of values and culture. It refers to the process of adoption of values and culture at the initial years of life, at the initial years or early years, anybody can write, at the initial years of life, mainly happening through primary socializing agents, mainly happening through primary socializing agents. So what do we mean by this? So when the culture or the values are adopted by the people at the very young age, like from we are a child, from our birth, what we start adopting, those values and culture that we get at the early age is called as primary socialization. What do we mean by primary socializing agents here? Those agents which play a big, which influence the socialization in the young age. Now what are the primary socializing agents? You can think of family, education system or education, and peer group, your friend circle. When we say primary socializing agents, it is not like only in the age of 0 to 6 or anything. It will be like broadly like from your birth till your first 15-20 years. So that is the process of primary socialization. So here the primary socializing agents are the, you can just write primary socializing agents. Primary socializing agents. It includes family, education, peers, P-E-E-Rs. Peers are like the friends, the group that you have, peers. And in recent days, social media. So why are we writing this social media and specifically saying in recent days? Because now children are becoming more used to the technology. So if we look back at our generation or even your generations possibly, at your young age, you were never exposed to the media. So how was the process of socializing happening? Like the parents will teach you in your families. Then as you started going to the schools, you were taught by the teachers. And slowly you were also learning many things from your friends as well. When you got exposure to the media was only when you got your mobile phones. And what was the norm in those days? Getting mobile phones was only when you entered your graduation or at least PU. Till then nobody had the exposure to the mobile phones. But in this generation, especially post COVID, what is happening? Mobiles have become mandatory, internet has become accessible, and as a result, and also adding to that complexities, everybody are busy in their life. Even parents do not have the time to spend with their children. So what is the shortcut they use to make the children sit quietly? They give them mobile phones. They play some pogo or some cartoons in the mobile and ask the child to watch it. So that is also having a big influence on the children. So that is why we are writing social media in the recent times. For a very long time, media had nothing to do in the primary socialization. Media was playing a big role in the secondary socializing, in the secondary socialization place. But now they are playing a big role in the primary socialization as well. Then write secondary socialization. Secondary socialization. It refers to the adoption of values and culture at the later stage of life influenced by secondary socializing agents. Secondary socializing agents. Then write write secondary socializing agents. So which are the secondary socializing agents? It can be the workspace. You can write workspace. It can be the political system, the economic system, religion. All of these are secondary socializing agents. So how do they influence people? You see that when people start going to work, a lot of things start changing. Like suppose in your company, hard work is given importance, or let's say you get a job in any Japanese company. Like suppose you get job in Toyota or Toyota Kirloskar. You eventually will become hardworking person, whether you like it or not, because that is the company's value or that is what company prefers. Maybe earlier till you were doing your graduation, you were having your own life, like life of the world, life of the time, waking up at 9:30. If the class was at 10, you will wake up at 9:30, brush and then quickly go to the class and bunk after the first 3 classes, go to movie. That might be your life. But now when you have got the job in the company timings are different. Company time is 9 o'clock to 7 in the evening. Now we are forced to wake up early because the company is somewhere in the outskirts. You have to travel for 2 hours. You are forced to wake up at 6:30, whether you like it or not. You become more disciplined. You become more hardworking because you need job, which gives you money. Now this company will change your work culture, or maybe let's say you were somebody who was having a strong belief in the idea of patriarchy, where you did not want women to go out and work, but your company has a different idea. They believe in equality, and when many of your colleagues are women employees, you cannot be discriminating. If you discriminate, you will be fired next day. You have to treat them equally. So you end up becoming different. You end up treating women equally. So that is how workspace can influence. Same can be the case of political system or the economic system of the country. If you go to America, you eventually end up prioritizing money. Your values start changing. Maybe as long as you are in India, you are giving more importance for family and friends. Even if you got 10,000 less, you are still happy spending time with your family. But now when you went to America, you are now giving more importance to money. If some of your friend calls, you will say, I'm busy in work, I will call you later, and you will cut the call. So you start eventually giving more importance to money. Your value gets changed. So that is how secondary socializing agents impact in the later age of later part of the life. Then we have resocialization. Write down. It refers to the change and replacement of values and culture. It refers to the change and replacement of values and culture. So now when we spoke about this primary and secondary socialization, at times whatever values and culture you have got in your early years might still be remaining, or it might be retained, and to that you might be adding some more values and more culture with secondary socialization. However, at times your primary socializing or the values that you have learnt in the early years might slowly start getting replaced by certain other values. So that can be one instance, or within this phase only, within the secondary socialization only, maybe in one context you are having some values, but when you went to workplace or when you went abroad, your values start changing, or post marriage your values start changing. So that is a common thing that you see. Before marriage, like, parents are everything. After marriage, husband or wife is everything. Parents are not everything. So that is resocialization. Your priorities are changing before and after marriage. And after you have kids, again your values change. Your priority becomes the children, not the husband or the wife or the parents. So that is how people's values can change and it get replaced. So that is resocialization. Then we have something called as total institutions. So what are total institutions? As you can see the name, total means something which includes everything. So total institutions refers to those institutions which can bring a sweeping change in your values and culture. If not all, a majority of your values and culture can be significantly influenced. For example, military or army. Once you join army or military, your whole lot of values have to change. If they say you have to wake up at 5, you have to wake up whether you like it or not. If they say that you have to dress yourself very neatly every day, you have to dress. If they say your dress have to be ironed every day, your dress have to be ironed. So your entire values and culture will get changed with certain institutions. So those institutions we call it as total institutions. Best example is the army. You see how people's whole values start changing once they go to army. Or it can also be with respect to navy, etc., where your entire values will start changing. You start giving importance for certain other values. So write down total institutions. It refers to those institutions. It refers to those institutions which can bring significant changes, if not all, in the values and culture of individuals. In the values and culture of individuals. It can even be religion. For somebody who believes strongly in religion, Religion can bring significant changes. Like maybe let's say you were earlier not believing in religion. Now for some reason you started believing in religion very strongly. Maybe some significant incident happened in your life, and by praying to God you were saved, your life was saved, or somebody very close to you was in hospital and you went and prayed to God, that person's life was saved. Now you start believing in religion and your entire value system starts changing. If the priest says you should give up on non-veg, you will give up on non-veg. If the priest says that you have to come to temple on every Saturdays or every Fridays, you will start following it. Like that, it can completely change, and it can be other way also. Earlier you were religious, now you ended up becoming a theist person, not believing in religion. Again, your whole value start changing. So that is total institutions. Yes. Spirituality is where you believe in certain set of ideas, like for example, see, when we say religion, it primarily means that you believe in the ideas of religion. If the religion has a god, you believe in god, you believe in temple, you believe in all the religious practices. When we say spirituality, it is like something close to religion but not exactly religion, but not completely the other end also. So how we can understand that is like religion, and here we have secularization. So when we, there is a word called secularization. Secularization is where people do not believe in religion, people do not believe in the idea of god, they increasingly believe in science and scientific temper. Now in this process, this is like a spectrum. Somebody might be highly religious, somebody might be little religious, somebody might be completely secular, not believing in god, somebody might be believing only to some extent. In this process, spirituality comes somewhere here. You still have belief in certain set of ideas that you should not harm animals, certain set of ideas given by religion that you should respect family, you should respect elders, you should take bath every day, you should do good things to society. These kind of ideas you still believe in. You might not necessarily believe in god, but you still believe in those ideas of the religion. So that is like that phase of process which is considered as spirituality. Like you do yoga or you do meditation, you believe that it is important to have a pure heart, you believe in the idea of inner purification, which is very important part of religion. You do not believe that if I do meditation I will get moksha, but you simply believe that if I do meditation it will result in inner purification, I will become a better human being. So that is spirituality. Okay, so all spiritual people need not be religious, they may or may not be religious in nature. Okay. Secularization is simply where you do not believe in the idea of religion only. It is not about which religion. People do not believe in the concept of religion or God itself. They believe more in science and scientific temper. That is secularization. Then we have customs, rituals, and traditions. So these are the words which we keep using. So our custom is this, our ritual is this, these are the words that we keep using. So what do we mean by them, or what are the difference between these words, customs, rituals, traditions, etc.? Traditions are from ancient time, yes, that is one way of understanding. And what are customs and rituals? Celebrations is one part of ritual. Okay, so what we mean by this is, it refers to patterned behavior or conduct in Sorry, just 1 second. It is the other way. Rituals and customs. So what we mean by rituals is it refers to the patterned behavior or conduct in a particular social context. So what do we mean by this? So here we are having certain words like patterned behavior or conduct in a particular context. Patterned in the sense you can predict them, like everybody behaves in the same way, or you will behave in the same way in that particular situation. Your behavior will not change. So that is what we call as pattern behavior or conduct, like how people behave or how people conduct in a particular context. So this context can be any situation. It can be like marriage, it can be a death ceremony, it can be festival. Take any context. It can be on the every Mondays. Suppose you believe in a particular god. So which god is famous for Mondays? Shiva. So suppose you are a strong believer in Shiva, then for you Mondays are important. So we can expect a pattern behavior wherein every Monday you go to temples. So that is ritual, a pattern behavior or conduct in a particular context. So suppose now marriage is happening. So what is the custom in marriage? That tying of knot. So tying of knot, or what we call as tadi. So this is a important custom that we have, important ritual that we have in marriage. And we have multiple rituals. Like what are the other rituals that we have? Saptapadi, what we call going around, the husband and wife going around the Agni or the fire altar 7 times. So these are all different customs which are like patterned. So it's not like random. So in one marriage somebody is doing, in other marriage somebody is not doing. It is not like that. It is like some pattern you can predict. Even before going to marriage you will know that in marriage Saptapadi will be happening, tying of knot will be happening, like that you can predict them. So that is why we call them as pattern behavior. And in a particular context, it will not be like happening everywhere. In the particular context only they happen. So that is why we call them as pattern behavior in particular context. And it can be in multiple cases. Like for example, when the death happens in somebody's house, what is the custom or the ritual that we have? Like one of the ritual is, as soon as somebody passes away, outside the home we put fire. So that is a custom in our culture. Or on the festival day, what is the custom that we have? Like what are the different rituals that we have? Yes. Any, like let's say Deepavali. So recently we had Deepavali, right? All of you celebrated Deepavali. So what are the important practices that we have with Deepavali? We put rangoli, we burst crackers, lighting of lamps, then wearing new clothes, taking head bath, and before doing the puja, we will not have any food. These are like some of the important rituals that we have. So these are patterned, like you can expect. On the festival day, you can expect people not to have food before taking bath. You can expect them to take head bath. In some families, it will be oil bath also. You can expect people to wear new clothes. You can expect them to burst crackers, etc. So these are the rituals. This is what we call as rituals. And when multiple rituals are put together, it becomes custom. In a marriage, we have multiple rituals. All of them put together becomes part of the custom. So that is custom. Like when a festival is there, what we discussed, all of them together is a part of the custom, and each individual aspect is the ritual that we carry out. And what are traditions? Traditions are when the customs and rituals are passed on over a period of time from one generation to other generation. That is what we call as traditions. So just write in one line for tradition. The custom, just write for customs. The multiple rituals that are carried out together in a specific social context in a specific social context are called as customs. It can be like right, the example for during festivals. Example, during celebration of festivals like Deepavali, since that is very familiar for us, you can write that only. During the celebration of festival Deepavali, taking head bath, wearing new clothes, taking head bath, wearing new clothes, bursting crackers, uh, sharing sweets are all part of the customs. Okay. Similarly, try to write it by yourself with respect to marriage, with respect to death ceremony, with respect to the birth. Even with birth, we have multiple customs, right? So, what are the customs associated with the birth of a baby? Naming ceremony is there. Then, even before that, when the baby is coming to the home, what custom do we have? Yes, we take arti, and we also take the drishti of the child so that no bad eyes will fall on it. And we have the Totlu Shastra wherein we put the baby into the cradle. These are all various customs associated with birth. Now these are patterned, you can predict them. It's not like surprise thing for you. You know what is going to happen. That is when we call it as patterned behavior. Same is the case with marriage. When the marriage is fixed, so we will have first, what are the different stages in marriage, different processes. It starts with the Arshana Shastra, what we most of you have heard, right? Arshana Shastra, wherein they apply the Arshana. Then the marriage, on the marriage day, what are the things you expect? Even before marriage, ring ceremony is there. Now new customs have got added, like pre-wedding shoot, photo shoot, these things. But as a part of our customs, what are the things that we can expect? Yes, nobody has seen marriage. Yes, you people tell what are the different uh, rituals that we carry out in marriage. Haldi or mehendi. Mehendi is one part of the custom. Sangeet is a part of our custom. Then most important things, one uh, tali kattadu, Mangal Sutra, tying of knot, most important part. Saptapadi is most important part. These are all part of the marriage ceremony. So all of them put together is the customs that we have with marriage. So these are what we call as customs. Okay. So then write traditions. Customs and traditions, sorry, customs and rituals. Customs and rituals passed down passed down over multiple generations, passed down over multiple generations are called as traditions. Passed down over multiple generations are called traditions. Then we have the concept of status. So it is not the general word that we use, like this is my status, high status, low status, not that status what we are referring to here. So what is status? Status, write down in one line, then I will explain. Status, it refers to the position an individual holds. It refers to the position an individual holds in the hierarchy of positions, in the hierarchy of positions in the society. It refers to the position an individual holds in the hierarchy of positions in the society. Now an individual can hold various different status at different point of time. Like for example, one simple status we can talk about is a man can hold the status of father. You can also hold the status of mother, you can hold the status of son, it can be the status of daughter. These are all with respect to family. Outside family, you can hold the status of a student, you can hold the status of a teacher, or once you enter the work sphere, you can hold the status of a employee, or if you have your own company, you can hold the status of employer. And when we talk about at the national level, you hold the status of a citizen. Then maybe in the future, when all of you become civil servants, you hold the status of a bureaucrat. Specifically, you may be an IAS officer, you might be a IPS officer, whichever post you hold. So that becomes your status, the position that you hold in the hierarchy of various positions. So that is what we call as status. And then we have role expectation. So what is role expectation? So when individuals are holding various posts, there are certain tasks that are expected by that person holding that position. So that we call as role expectation. Okay, write in one line. When individuals hold certain status, when individuals hold certain status, there are certain tasks, that are expected, from the individual holding that position, holding that position which is referred to as role expectation. Now, for example, if you take the case of a father, so what are the role expectations from a father towards child? When we are saying father, we are not talking about the status of husband. It is only with respect to father. Father means towards the child. So what are the different tasks that a father has with respect to the child? Protecting, providing protection, provision for, providing food or providing for shelter, then education, providing for love and care, and most important, providing for finance or money. How can you forget this part? Providing for money. All of us end of the day go back to our parents for pocket money. So even if we do not call for asking their well-being, we call for money at least when we are in our schools and colleges. So these are all the different role expectations from the particular status that an individual is holding. Now this is with respect to father. Let's say it is the status you are holding is that of a student. So now what are the different expectations from a student? One is studying, yes, good. Punctuality, we will be checking this over the period of time. Discipline, and you can tell other things also. It need not be like only like the good things. Even if you have any other things which being mischievous, even that can be having being mischievous, yes, nothing wrong. And you can also be friend, being friend to others. These are all various role expectations from a student. So this is what we call as role expectation. Now there is something called as role performance. So write down next point, role performance. So what is role performance? We have written role expectation, and what is performance? Actually how they are performing. So write down, it refers to the actual performance. It refers to the actual performance in consideration with that of the role expectation. It refers to the actual performance in consideration with the role expectation. Now usually you see that people will set themselves very high, like they will set very high bar, like this is what I want to achieve. They might end up being here on the scale of like 10. You might set yourself a benchmark of 10. Your performance might be like 8 on a scale of 10. It might be 9. Sometimes it might be 0 also. Let's say you're least interested in studies. Your parents have somehow forcefully sent you to schools. So your role performance will be like 0. You will not be going to schools or colleges. You will be bunking and going somewhere most of the times. So your role performance will be like 0. Now if you are a very serious student, your role performance may be like 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Let's say you end up clearing with a very high score. You are also given a very good character certificate by your school, and you also had very good friend circle. Everything went very well, like this ideal picture. So that is where the role performance matches with the role expectation, and this usually varies. In most of the cases, the role performance will be very high. Like especially if you take the case of children, parents will have always very high benchmarks. They always want you to get 100 out of 100, nothing less than that. But in real, we might be scoring 90 out of 100, 95 out of 100, or maybe 80 also. So the role performance can usually come down. So it usually depends on the person's interest, the person's abilities, and the availability of resources and the availability of time. All of these things matter with respect to the role performance. If everything is well, maybe sometimes what can happen is you have all the intent to do it, but the resources are not there. Like let's say you are an employee in a company, and your company wants you to ensure that there is a profit of 100 crore, and for that you need minimum 100 employees, but the employer has given you 5 employees and asking you to achieve a target of 100 crores. So due to lack of resource, you will not be able to achieve that from the limited resource, or you might not have interest in that. So because of multiple reasons, the role performance may not be always matching the role expectation. So that is role performance. Then we have something called as role strain. So what is role strain? So it write down, it refers to the challenges or difficulties that one faces, in performance of the given role. So now when we say role strain, we are not talking about two different roles, two different status that you have. People have different status. People, same person can be father and employee also. We are not talking about two status. We are talking about the same role that an individual is having. So in that case, when we took the example of father, so now father has the role of showing love to the child. At the same time, father has also the role to ensure discipline in the child. Now ensuring both will be difficult. If the father shows excess love, disciplining will be compromised. If the father makes or is too strict, love will be compromised. So this is the role strain, the difficulty or challenge in performing the role. Or let's say there is the other role also of providing money. If the father ends up giving too much money, the child might become indisciplined. If the father does not give any money, then the love will be compromised. So that is the role strain that we see. Okay. Then we have something called role set. So write down. It refers to the various roles played by an individual holding a single status. So what we are saying here is that holding a single status only, being father only, the person is playing multiple role, like disciplining also, showing love also, and giving money also. All of these things put together is called as role set. Then we have one more word called as status set. So what is status set? It refers to, write down, it refers to the various status, statuses, apostrophe s, statuses that an individual holds, at any given point of time. So what do we mean by this? So when we took the example of a father, so now nobody will be holding only the status of father. They will be simultaneously holding multiple status. Like a person, if it is a male, this person is holding the status of father, that is with respect to the children. Now with respect to the wife, what is the status? Husband. Then with respect to the parents, what is the status? Son. Then with respect to the office, employee. With respect to friends, friend. Then with respect to the nation, a citizen. So you see that every individual will hold multiple status at a given point of time. So all of them put together is what we call as status set, and it is the same with everybody. If you take the case of a student as well, so in the case of a student, you people, what are the different status that you hold? With respect to your parents, you hold the status of a daughter or a son. Then apart from that, you also have many friends. You are also a citizen. Then you are also a student here in the classroom. And then any other status? You can also be a sibling, sister or brother. Then you are also a grandson or granddaughter. So you see that every individuals hold multiple status at a given point of time. All of them put together is what we call as status set. Okay. Then we have role conflict. So what is role conflict? Between role strain is where people find it difficult or challenging performing multiple roles with a given status. When we say role conflict, it refers to the challenges or difficulties that individuals face in performing multiple status at a given point of time. Okay, write down. It refers to the challenges or difficulties the challenges or difficulties that an individual face with respect to the performance of multiple status at given time, at any given time. Now you see that when an individual is performing the role of father, if the person has to give excess time to the children, then he will end up compromising his work. Or if the father is giving excess time to work, he will end up compromising time to wife. Or if he is giving excess time to wife and children, he will end up compromising time to parents, because after becoming father or after marriage, the obligations towards parents will not end. We will still be children to our parents. So now if you are giving more time to children, you do not have time to your work or office. Or if you are giving more time to children and work or children and wife, you do not have time to your own parents. So doing one thing might result in making it complex for the other thing. Or if you are spending your whole day with your work only, you might end up compromising time for everybody else. That is something that usually you will be expected. After you become civil servants, what are you expected? Yes? Like you would have seen in general, right, how the life of a civil servant will be. There will be no concept of fixed time like 10 to 5 and all. That is all applicable in the normal companies. When you become civil servant, your whole day will be your life, your work. You might get a call at late night 12 o'clock or in the early morning 5 o'clock. Like now, yesterday there was this bus accident, and when the bus accident happened, the district collector had to run there immediately. So the district collector cannot say that I am outside my work life or I am with my family. These things cannot be said. So you have to go. Now let's say that district collector had promised the child that I will take you to movie at night. Now what will happen? The role compromise. The child have to be now compromising with that. Or let's say the district collector had promised his wife that he will take and buy one nice jewelry, something like that. Now it will be compromised, and end of the day when he comes back home, there will be clash. So that is what we call as role conflict, and this can happen in multiple cases. This is where we have to bring the work-life balance, and this is where your emotional intelligence, part of your ethics, will play a big role. Okay, so that is role conflict. So any doubts so far? Yes. Women? It largely comes under our rituals. Any other doubts so far? Few more concepts are there, like not too many, like another 4-5 concepts. So we'll do that on Monday, and then we'll get started with our first unit. Okay. Yes. And I've given. Did you all receive the syllabus copy? So from today your task will be, not from today, actually from yesterday only it started. How many of you went through the syllabus again after going home? Great, very happy to see all of you. And my sincere request will be to do the same thing every day, okay, till you get a hold on it. When I ask you what is the 10th unit, you have to be able to tell what is the 10th unit and what are the topics within 10th unit. That is what you have to be doing, and you don't have to do it like overnight. You don't have to go by it like how we used to buy at tables in our childhood. 2 into 1 is 2, 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 3s are 8, 10, like that we used to buy it, right? That is not what is required. Just try to go through them. Slowly start getting familiar. Try to see the words that are given. You don't have to buy at anything here. Best part with sociology is most of it is conceptual. There is nothing to buy at as such. Start getting familiar now. Once we do those topics, you will be able to understand them also. Then it becomes much easier. Okay, but at this point of time, your efforts have to be to go through them every day and revise then and there itself whatever we are doing in the class. And once we get started with the topics from Monday, we'll start taking up practice questions also with whichever topics we have covered and try to practice them then and there itself. So that is what you have to be doing on a regular basis, nothing more than that. Okay, thank you guys. And also today is Saturday, so tomorrow is weekend, right? Sunday. So what are your Sunday's plan? Tests. It's like heartbreak. You can tell heartbreak rather than tests. But anyway, do write your tests in the first half of your day. Take a good break because breaks are very important. It's not about enjoying. It is more about you being able to rejuvenate yourself and come back fresh. Because if you have to attend the classes for 1 week, be it GS or optional, and be attentive in the class, not just being physically present, you need to be both physically and mentally fresh and active. For that, best solution is not to take tablets, to take good rest. Good sleep is the best pill for you without any side effects. Okay, so take good rest, come back fresh on Monday. We'll get started with the first unit. Thank you guys. First slide. This one. Thank you.